Deep beneath the surface, where sunlight disappears and ordinary cameras become almost useless, China has revealed an underwater machine that looks less like a submarine and more like a living creature. Its body is flat, its wings are wide, and instead of pushing itself forward with a noisy propeller, it moves by sending smooth waves through two flexible fins. This is the Aoxiang V-type biomimetic manta-ray submersible. In public footage, the machine was shown searching through water with visibility of less than 1 meter. A forward-looking sonar scanned the darkness ahead. Side-scan sonar mapped the seabed, and information from the vehicle was transmitted back to a command terminal as it searched for simulated underwater explosive devices. But the most important part of this machine is not what it detected. It is how engineers created a vehicle that must be rigid and flexible at the same time. The electronics inside cannot bend. The pressure enclosure cannot deform. The sonar must remain stable. Yet the outer fins must move continuously, generating thrust through controlled waves. So, how do engineers transform the motion of a manta ray into a reliable underwater machine? The answer begins inside the body. At the center of the vehicle is the part that cannot behave like an animal. Batteries, navigation hardware, processing electronics, sonar interfaces, and communication equipment need a protected environment. Underwater pressure acts on every exposed surface, and the deeper a vehicle travels, the more severe that force becomes. For this reason, the soft exterior must be built around a pressure-resistant equipment core. This central module is the foundation of the entire machine. That makes sealing a manufacturing process, not a finishing detail. The protected core must then be integrated into a flattened structural body. This structure supports the sensors at the front and sides, carries the flexible fin roots, and keeps the vehicle symmetrical. And symmetry matters. A small difference between the left and right sides can create unequal thrust. One fin may push harder than the other. The vehicle may roll, turn, or consume additional energy simply to maintain a straight course. So the frame, attachment points, and internal mass distribution must be aligned before the soft exterior closes around them. This is where the machine begins to take on the outline of a manta ray. But the wide fins are not decorative. They are the propulsion system. The manta-inspired design takes a different approach from conventional propeller-driven vehicles. Instead of spinning a propeller, it moves broad fin surfaces in a traveling wave. The motion begins near the body and passes outward through the fin. Water is pushed backward over a much larger area, moving the vehicle forward while the central body remains comparatively stable. That stable center is critical because sonar performance depends on controlled motion. If the sensor platform shakes or swings excessively, the acoustic picture becomes harder to interpret. A vehicle designed to search a dark seabed cannot allow its own propulsion system to disturb the very measurements it is trying to collect. This creates one of the hardest manufacturing challenges in the project. The fins must be flexible enough to form a smooth wave, but not so soft that they lose shape. They must survive repeated bending, remain waterproof, and respond consistently to control inputs. But whatever internal system is used, the manufacturing problem remains the same: controlled deformation. During assembly, the two fins must be attached to the body with matching geometry. Their moving structures must operate through the same range. Their surfaces must avoid wrinkles, abrupt stiffness changes, and weak bonded areas that could fail after thousands of cycles. Before the vehicle enters the water, the fin system can be tested on a bench. The goal is not simply to make the fin move. The goal is to make both fins create a predictable hydrodynamic pattern. Once the propulsion surfaces are installed, the next challenge is giving the machine a way to see. The machine relies on sound. Forward-looking sonar sends acoustic energy into the water ahead of the vehicle and listens for reflections. It can reveal an object even when the water appears completely black to a camera. Side-scan sonar performs a different task. It examines the seabed to the left and right, building a wider acoustic view of the terrain below. Integrating these sensors is not as simple as attaching them to the outer skin. Their orientation matters. Their acoustic paths must remain unobstructed. Electrical noise from motors, power systems, and switching electronics must be controlled. The sensor mounts must remain stable while the fins flex nearby. This is why sonar integration is followed by calibration. In a test tank, engineers can place known objects at controlled distances and angles. The vehicle scans them repeatedly, while technicians compare the measured position with the real one. The fins may then operate during the same test to determine whether propulsion changes the acoustic image. This answers a crucial question. Can the vehicle swim and search at the same time? But even accurate sonar is useless if the vehicle cannot control its own depth and orientation. A manta-shaped machine has a wide surface area. That can provide stability, but it also means changes in buoyancy or mass distribution can affect the entire platform. Before open water trials, the completed vehicle must be balanced. Technicians can suspend it, place it in a shallow tank, and adjust trim until the vehicle remains level. The relationship between its center of mass and center of buoyancy determines whether it naturally returns to a stable attitude or continues to roll. The navigation system must also understand what the body is doing. Depth sensors, inertial measurements, and control software work together to command the fins. If the nose rises, the fin motion must correct it. If a current pushes the vehicle sideways, the control system must adjust, without creating unstable oscillations. Chinese reporting also describes both powered swimming and buoyancy-assisted gliding. The exact internal mechanism is not public, so it should not be reconstructed as fact. But the engineering logic is clear. Active fin movement gives the vehicle maneuverability, while gliding can reduce energy use over longer distances. That creates another calibration problem, because the vehicle must transition between two forms of movement without losing depth control or sensor stability. Before such movement is trusted in open water, however, the enclosure must prove that it can survive pressure. A pressure chamber allows engineers to expose the sealed body to forces representing deeper water, while the vehicle remains inside a controlled facility. Sensors watch for deformation, leakage, and electrical failure. The outer soft sections may move, but the protected equipment core must remain intact. Only after the structure, fins, sensors, sealing, and control systems work together can the completed machine begin integrated trials. In the public demonstration, the vehicle moved through extremely low visibility water, while its forward sonar searched ahead and its side-scan sonar examined the seabed. The objective involved simulated underwater explosive devices. This was a detection test, not a weapon attack. The vehicle had to move close enough to scan the seabed, maintain a stable acoustic picture, identify the object, and transmit the result back to a command terminal. Each part of that sequence depended on the manufacturing stages that came before it. The pressure core protected the electronics. The central structure kept the platform aligned. The fins produced controlled motion. The sealing kept water outside. The navigation system maintained the path. And the sonar turned sound reflections into a usable picture of a place that cameras could not see. The manta-ray shape therefore solves more than one problem. Its broad body creates space for equipment. Its fins provide propulsion without a conventional exposed propeller. Its stable center supports sensitive sensors, and its animal-inspired movement may reduce disturbance near the seabed. But this vehicle should not be confused with every other manta-shaped underwater robot. China has tested other biomimetic submersibles, including earlier university prototypes, while researchers in other countries have developed their own manta-inspired machines. The American Manta-Ray program, for example, is a separate, much larger vehicle with a different design and mission concept. The Aoxiang system is also not confirmed to be in serial production. Its exact dimensions, weight, battery chemistry, actuator design, and operational status have not been publicly established. What has been demonstrated is the engineering concept. A soft-bodied underwater platform can combine flexible propulsion, pressure-protected electronics, autonomous control, and sonar detection inside one integrated machine. And that brings us back to the central question. How do engineers build something that must be soft enough to swim like an animal, but rigid enough to function like a precision instrument? They divide the problem. The electronics are protected inside a stable core. The structure carries loads and preserves alignment. The flexible fins create movement. The control system synchronizes that movement. The sonar provides vision through sound. And testing forces all of those systems to work together in the same dark, pressurized environment. The result is not a mechanical copy of a manta-ray. It is an underwater robot built around the specific advantages of the animal's shape and motion. A machine designed not to fight the water, but to move through it. Subscribe to Modus Assembly for more documentaries on the engineering and manufacturing systems shaping modern defense technology.